I don't know how about you, but I think authentication is hard, and today we will try to dive in Tanstack Start, Better Auth, and Drizzle, and I will show you how you can set up authentication by yourself, and I will show you Better Auth in more details, so you will have everything in your hand, and you will see how easy it is today to set up your own authentication system, and that you don't have to pay for cloud solutions, and setup is really easy. So let's jump in. Let's start from Scaffolding Tanstack Start project. We will use like a build project from scratch approach. You can visit the site Tanstack Start, so we can see here we should create a folder and we should make TypeScript configuration and initialize our project by package manager from whatever we choose it. So let's do this right now. Let's go back to the terminal here. Let's make dir Tanstack Better Auth tutorial. Let's cd to this new directory and let's make pnpm init. So I initialize project right now. We should have just one file there. Let's try to open this project by editor of our choice. I'm using Z. So project is right now open. We see we have just one package.json file, and let's follow tutorial. So next step, what we should do, it's like creating tsconfig within our app. So let's just copy this JSON file here and let's create tsconfig. Let's save it. It should be JSON. Next step is like install all necessary dependencies. So let's copy this. Let's go back to our terminal. And we are using pnpm, so let's change npm to pnpm and let's install Tanstack Start, Tanstack React Router in Vite. This would be like first three dependencies which are needed in this project. The next dependencies we need React and React DOM, so let's install them. And the last ones are TypeScript, yeah, and all of the types which are needed. So let's install TypeScript, types React, types React DOM, Vite tsconfig paths, and Vite.js plugin React. Now we have initial configuration, so let's go back to our package.json file. Let's check if we have everything. We have Tanstack, React, React DOM, and Vite. And we have dev dependencies, which are like types from React and plugins for Vite. Now I think would be interesting part because we have to configure Vite, make Vite config, and also make some scripts for dev and build. So let's copy this module and scripts, dev and build. Let's jump back to our package.json, and in place where we have scripts, let's just paste it in. So we added like type module and scripts, dev and build to start our application. Let's save this file. The next step is like creating Vite config ts file. So let's create it. And within this file, we need to copy this stuff here. So what we are doing here, we are defining config for our Vite. We are defining port for our application to run, and we are defining plugins which will be needed to run Tanstack Start up. So tsconfig path, Tanstack Start, and Vite React in our case. Now let's follow again tutorial from Tanstack Start and this build from scratch approach. Now we need, after we created our Vite config, which is already there, we need probably basic templating. Yes, so we need some like two required files for Tanstack Start. We need router configuration and we need root of our application. So let's start from this. Let's make first router configuration. So in folder source/router tsx, we would like to create file like this. So I will just copy this, go back to my editor. I will create folder src and file name router tsx. Yes, so router tsx, and let's paste this stuff here. Right now you see this red squiggly lines in my editor because we didn't start our application yet. That's why Tanstack Start didn't created this row tree generated file for us with all of the types and roots available in our application. So right now we can just omit this error. Let's go back to our instruction here, and we need to create a root of our application. So this will be in src roots root tsx. So we need to create folder roots in src. So in our src folder, And in roots folder, we need root tsx file. So something like this. And here we'll just copy paste our initial configuration for our initial root. So we can just save this here. And now we have root of our like application. So you see there's like nothing fancy here. We are just having like some meta tags, head and component, which is providing us possibility to render stuff within it. So we just need also now index root in our application. Yes, so this is our first root, will be index tsx file. So within the roots we have to create index tsx, and here we have to paste logic from the tutorial. We don't need many of this stuff, so I will just delete this file path, create server function, because for now we don't need this. We don't need this update count at all, so we can just get rid of this stuff. We don't need the loader function right now, and we also don't need those hooks. And in our case we'll have simple, and let's save our file. We don't need the router also itself. So right now, if we did everything correctly, we should be able to run pnpm dev, and we should be able to see our app within our browser. So let's try it. Let's try to run pnpm. So pnpm dev, start our app, and let's see, app is started. So now we can open it, and we have our div with hello sign here. So this is initial setup for Tanstack Start. Now we should set up our database. And I'm personally fan of keeping everything like locally, spinning up local environment with database and everything, and then you can easily transform it to production environment. So let's create Docker Compose file, but please, if you want to follow along, make sure you have Docker installed in your system and Docker is running currently in your system. So we will create in our root folder Docker Compose YAML file. So Docker Compose YAML. And within this file, we will create configuration for spinning up our database locally. So we will be able to work with better Auth and with logic to keep session information, user information in our database. So this is the script here, YAML file. You can see we just have one service, which is like Postgres database. We are using from .env file, Postgres user, Postgres password. We will set up this right now. And we are mapping our ports, and we are creating some volumes with name Tanstack better out data. Now I will run Docker in my system. So let's start Docker. No images, no containers at all. So right now we are ready to spin up our database. So let's add some script to our package.json to start our database. So let's go here to package.json. Let's add script to db start, and this will be like Docker Compose app. So now if we will run Docker Compose app -d, we should start our database, but we don't have to forget about setting environment variables first. Yeah, so make connection possible to our database. So now let's create new file .env, and within this file we will need to save information about environment variables. So we will need like Postgres user and Postgres password. So let's copy this here, and we need also Postgres password. So let's copy this password here and paste here. We need some example users. So I will just make user 123 and some password. Of course, in production environment, you should not share this data with anybody. Right now, I think we are able to start our database. So let's try to start. And to start our container, we should use our newly created script. So pnpm db start. And right now our container should start it, and our database should be, our Postgres database should be available. He's pulling images which are needed to run this container image for me. So after the pull is complete, he will be able to start this image, and I will have my database locally started. So if now I will go to the Docker, you see I have like Tanstack better out tutorial running 2 seconds ago, and we have like one image which is related to our newly created database. Now we are ready to spin up better Auth. So now we should jump to better Auth documentation page, section installation, and we should add necessary packages. So we need to start from pnpm add better Auth in our project. So let's add this package. And what we need else, we need to set some environment variable keys. So I will just let it generate for me and copy. And let's go back to our .env file and let's paste it right here. So we have better out secret also in our .env file. So we are now ready to play with better out, but for this also we need some better out instance. So we need lib folder and out.ts. So let's copy this stuff. Let's create lib folder within our app and let's create our auth.ts instance where we will paste this. But for now, we will leave it like this, and we have to jump out to again to the documentation because we will using explicitly Drizzle in our case. So let's try to find Drizzle ORM adapter. And what we will need here, we will need Drizzle adapter to configure our database. So let's copy this and let's paste it here. We will use Postgres, so I'll just make PG here. Let's get rid of this. Let's import Drizzle adapter. And to finish installation of our Drizzle, we have to go to get started here in PostgreSQL, and we will need few things. We need to add Drizzle ORM and PG and .env packages to our app. So let's go back to our terminal and let's add pnpm add Drizzle ORM and the rest of the packages. We will also need Drizzle kit and types for PG. So let's add them. I think we already installed Drizzle kit. So we have all of this. And right now we are able to set database URL in our .env file. So let's go back here and let's go to our .env file, and we will need database URL. And database URL, as you probably know, as you worked maybe with Docker locally, it's nothing else than like a combination of password and address for your database. So in our case, we can just copy paste, and we have to exchange user and password. So our user is this one here, and our password would be like simple password in this case. So let's jump and do this like this. So we have our database URL right now set up, so we can go back to our better auth and let's try to make some configuration for our database. So let's try to configure initial tables. Yeah. So for now we need to generate our schema required for better out. So let's go back here. Let's try to generate the schema first. So this should like generate file for us with whole schema, but we have some DB is not defined. Okay. So we have to first go back to our auth.ts and we have to do like const db is equal Drizzle. So we need to import like Drizzle from Drizzle ORM node Postgres, and we need to use this and pass here like our process.env, and it will be like our database URL. We can do exclamation mark or we can do like casting here. So we have complete config right now. We can now start and try to generate this schema. So let's try to generate the schema and let's see if this will be available. Yes, he is asking us if we wanna create file with schema. Let's see. So he generated for us schema which is needed by better out in database. What I like about this solution is like you have everything in control, so you can change the schema, you can add new things if you need additional fields in your user field. But right now we will leave it like this. We will just make separate folder here, DB, and we will put our schema within the DB folder to have like proper space for this. Now we need Drizzle config to be able to make migrations and create tables for us. So let's create Drizzle config ts file. I just prepared it on the side. So here Drizzle config ts. And within this config, we have to tell him what kind of schema we want to use. So in this case, we have to change the name here of schema. What kind of DB credentials do we have? So we have everything in place, and now we should be able, by following the Drizzle kit generate and migrate, we should be able to create tables within our database. Yes, so let's go back to the terminal and let's try to make Drizzle generate. So he generate 4 tables for us. So now we need to push those changes to our table within our database. So let's use Drizzle for that, and let's do like pnpm Drizzle could push. He should push to our database, so it's already there. And now let's try to check if we have those tables within our database. So let's start Drizzle Studio and open the studio, and we see we have our tables within our database. So database is set up. Now let's go back to the code and let's try to connect this within our app. Okay, but still we're missing something here within our Auth TS. We need to provide our schema, not only provider. So let's just jump in and let's provide our schema, and we need to import this user from DB Auth schema. So we will have our models in place. So let's just import all of those 4 things. Now we have this. Now let's try to jump to documentation from Better Auth, and let's try to how we can like authenticate our users. So we have everything in place, and let's see integrations with Tanstack Start, and let's see how we can authenticate our users. So we need to create root API out and with $, which is like dynamic root. So let's try to do this. So we'll just copy this, and we have to, in our roots, we have to create API out and $. So our roots folder API, and here will be also Auth, and within this would be file with $, and tsx. Can do like this. We need to change imports here because we have kind of our Auth instance should be imported from somewhere else. As we know, it should be from lib in Auth. And Tanstack Start React Start, which it should be added by us into our project. So let's just npm add Tanstack Start React Start, and we should add this. So now we should be able to import our server function. If I restart language server, I should be able to have these types already in place. So we created our file here for authenticating. Now let's jump back to our documentation for Better Auth. And again, we need to create server TS file. So we need to have our API routes handler. That's why we need to create server TS file within our app. Yes. So with our source, we have here routes, route gen, everything. We need within our source, we need our server TS file. So server TS, and we need to copy and paste it. That's how we can use API routes within Tanstack Start. Yes. So now what we can do, it's like we can use sign in, sign out functions. So, but for that we will need some UI. But to be able to use our authentication on client side, we need also Auth client. Yes. So if you can see here, getting started, installation, basic usage, you can see on installation itself, we configuring database, we are authenticating, so handlers, and create client instance is like one of the latest parts. So we also need Auth client on our end. So let's go back to code, and let's, in our lib, let's create Auth client. And this would be like, this would export functions for sign in, sign up, use session, sign out, and get session. So it would be like useful functions for our app to know if the user is logged in or not. And if we have this in place, we should create some middleware which will check if the user is logged in or not at all in our app. So we need some Auth middleware. So let's create file Auth middleware, and let's paste this logic here. So we are just creating middleware. This is how we create middleware in Tanstack Start. We are creating middleware on server side. We are getting session from the user, and we are getting user from the session. So we are using information. We are passing this down to our app, so that in that way we will be able to use this information within our routes, loaders, stuff like this. Yes. So we can also like make Auth server function. So we can just authenticate our user, Auth server function. And within this function, we can just use our middleware and pass our context down to within our tree. So in this case, we have one function globally which can get our user and pass it down whenever we need it. Yes. So now to check this logic, we will need to create some UI. We'll need to add some buttons, and we also don't have to forget about how we will gonna log in our user, because right now we just created database, but we didn't use any providers here. So in my example, I will use GitHub provider, and now let's start to setting this up. So to use social providers in Better Auth, we have to configure them, and we'll configure one of them, which will be like GitHub. So we have to add like social providers, and we need to provide GitHub client ID and GitHub client secret to our .env file. So let's open our .env and let's provide actually what is needed here. So we need GitHub client ID, which will be something, and we need also GitHub client secret, yes, which will be also something. So let's save it right now. We don't have any values right now. We have to create them. So let's jump to GitHub account. This is all really good described in Better Auth documentation. So if you wanna follow along, you can take a look on GitHub here and how to do this by yourself. I just copy pasted this value. But now let's go back to GitHub. We will just need this information, how set redirect URL in our app to localhost, because we are developing localhost. So you will, if you go to production, you will need like probably separate GitHub app to authenticate your user. But let's go to GitHub right now, and to create apps you can go to settings, here developer settings, and here in OAuth apps you can make like new OAuth app. I will just name it Tanstack Start. Homepage URL I will just do HTTP localhost, and authorization callback URL we have to set it according to our documentation from Better Auth. We'll create this app. So we have our client ID right now. So we'll just copy this and paste here, saved it. And for client secret, we have to generate it. We have to copy this secret. I will just delete this app after this tutorial, so don't worry. And save this here. So right now we should be able to sign in our user, but to do this, we need some button to do this. Yes. So let's go to our roots. Let's go to index page. We have actually nothing right now here in our index page. So first of all, we need to get information if our user is signed in or not. And to get it, we need to use our use session function, which is like exported from our Auth client. If we have our session, we can show button conditionally within our div here. So when the user is not logged in, we can just show button with sign in, and we can use sign in function, which is also exported from our Auth client here. So right now, if I will save it and I will go back to my terminal and start up, we should see the button because we are not logged in. So let's open our app again. Let's refresh. So we see the button with sign in, and if we set up everything correctly, and let's check if we saved our app in application settings. So we just update application here. Application is saved. So now go back to our app, and we should be able, after clicking this button, we should be able to sign in our user. So click it, sign in, click sign in, and you see we have like mask to log in our user by his GitHub account. So I will just authorize my user here, and we are getting redirected. There are still some missing pieces though. I would like to show button to log out, and I would like to show you also how you can do protected routes, so only for logged in users, and if the user is not logged in, how to redirect him to the given route. So now first start from the button to log out, so we can just do something like this, and we will need like import link from our Tanstack router, and we don't have dashboard route yet, so we will just do something like this for now, and we need to import our sign out function, which should be imported from our libout client. Yes, so we have button for signing out, so we should be able to see, yeah, the username is my name actually, and signing out, I should be able to sign out myself and sign in again with my GitHub account, because token is saved, so I don't have to authorize myself again. So this is what we have right now, and we also need to make some protected routes, and to do this we need to create dashboard. The dashboard would be the route for us, which would be only for logged in users. Yes, so let's create dashboard tsx, and I will just paste the logic here, and let's see what we have here. I will just get rid of this imports here, and let's import our sign in function from lib. I will just don't need it here. Let's make sign out. So we need to get our user ID. This is our server function which we created here, and before load this route, I would like to run the server function and get the user ID and pass it down in context, and here within the context, within loader itself, I can read this user ID. If you see, if I will not get user ID, I will redirect my user to the root road. If I will get user ID, I will just pass it down and I will able to use it by root use loader data. Yes. So right now we should have dashboard root. If we go to our index root, I will just save this file, go to index root, I will just uncomment this link here, refresh the page, and you see I'm logged in and I'm able to go to the dashboard page. I'm on the dashboard page, I'm able to see this page. Let's try to sign out and let's try to jump to the dashboard page. So I will just try to manually write dashboard, and you see I'm getting to be redirected to sign in root. So that's it. That's how you can set up sign in, sign out, and redirection like protected routes using Tanstack Start and BetterOuth. I think BetterOuth is one of the best solutions right now for people who can have like everything in their hands. You saw we have our database in control. We have in control how the user data is saved and used actually, and BetterOuth itself is providing a lot of different plugins and stuff which you can help. You can see like you can authenticate by email and password. You can use like different social providers. So that's it for today. I hope you learned something new. I hope you saw how easy you can nowadays in TypeScript ecosystem and actually every ecosystem set up your own application or your own authentication by using BetterOuth. Shout out for those guys because I think they are doing really great job within the community, and the fact that this all is free and you can use it by your project, it's unbelievable for me. So nice times are coming out, I would say. And if you like this video, just subscribe, click a like button, and maybe you will like also this one where I'm saying a little bit more about writing better React code. So for today it's everything. Thank you very much and see you in the next one. Bye bye.